LexTalk World Talk Show presented by ClickWay Creators. Today we have Miss Emma Ocansey with us. She is Senior Legal Counsel at BNP Paribas, London. Emma Ocansey is a senior lawyer in the legal department of the Corporate and Investment Banking Group of BNP Paribas. Emma's role involves structuring, drafting, advising, and negotiating on cross-border capital markets and security transactions. Emma has worked and continued to be involved in high-profile emerging market transactions. Her clients are based in America, Europe, Africa, Middle East, Russia, and CIS countries. Thank you so much for joining us, Emma.
Thank you for having me. It's very nice to be here.
We are pleased to have you with us today. So, can you give us a brief introduction about your personal and professional background?
Personally, I'm going to combine the two, personally and professionally. I was born in Ghana, came to the UK when I was 7. My dad came over here as a diplomat, and I remained in the UK to finish my schooling. I went to Leeds University, but I did a psychology degree. Although I was interested in law, I wanted to broaden my horizons. So I did a psychology degree, which I really enjoyed. After that, I spent a year in New York acting as a paralegal, which was really interesting, really dynamic. And that kind of confirmed my decision to take law as a profession. I then went on to London College of Law and I did my conversion course to law and I did my solicitor's finals. I then went to work and train for Linklaters. And I worked in both their Tokyo offices and their London offices and spent a couple of years there before moving to BNP Paribas. And that's where I am now. Personally, I have a family. I have an 11-year-old son. And like everybody else at the moment, I'm balancing homeschooling and working from home and enjoying the challenges and trying to find the best way to manage them.
Wow. So, Emma, one more question. So how the banking sector in the European region is impacted because COVID is affecting everything. And what solutions do you foresee from a legal perspective?
I think it's a very big topic. COVID is impacting everything. But if I sort of focus on the capital markets, I think the initial reaction in March when it was declared as a pandemic was shock. So the capital markets were very quiet. There wasn't very much going on. I think everybody was trying to figure out what to do. And slowly but surely, you had big names coming like Walt Disney and Nestle who continued to issue bonds. And I think what really sort of generated activity is the involvement of the US Fed, which had implications on the ECB. And once the ECB started quantitative easing in line with what the US Fed was doing, they started to pump money into the economy. So what we started seeing was lots of sovereign issuers coming to the market and also corporates, because the effect of the quantitative easing was that interest rates were low, credit spreads were high and yields were high as well, and coupons were wide as well. But in terms of actual borrowing for corporates and sovereigns, it was cheaper money. So we saw a lot of activity. We saw and we are still seeing a lot of activity from the corporates and sovereigns. I think in terms of the law, as always, we have to be innovative and responsive. And what I've seen recently is a COVID bond. And that was the purpose of that was to raise proceeds so that the money could be used by a public bank in order to invest in small businesses that would generate economic activity. So I think, as always, as with everything, the legal environment, especially in the commercial side, tends to respond with issues by providing finance and creative solutions for issuers to carry on with their economic activity.
That's interesting. And we can't avoid the current situation with George Floyd. I note you were on Radio 4, Women's Hour on Tuesday, 2nd June. So talking about racism and parenting, why was that important to you?
I think racism is a very important topic, obviously. And I think what's happening with everything that's happening in the world with populism, with Trumpism, with the impact of COVID on a disproportionate sector of the Black community. There's a lot of things that are impacting our race. And I think as a parent, now is the time, and not that it wasn't before, but I think it's very apparent now that it's important that we educate our children and we have these discussions with them so that they know and that they're aware of the challenges that can face them. It's important to balance it. You don't want to crush their dreams. There's so much that they can achieve, and the world is full of lots of successful Black people. But it's also important that they're aware that there are challenges and there are issues that they have to face. And you have to sort of educate them and prepare them so they're best equipped to deal with it.
Yeah. Second you on that. So then we have another question. Can you tell us more about your non-executive role for the Financial Inclusion Forum?
I'm from Ghana, as obviously I mentioned before, and in Ghana, economic activity is really driven from the ground. So from SMEs, sole traders, very small people, and they're often what's termed the unbankable, but they're the ones that drive the economy. And I have a real interest in sort of finding out the best way to make them bankable, to make them have access to finance. And the Financial Inclusion Forum, for me, is a way as a non-exec to get involved in that area. And it's nice because all the skills which I have in terms of dealing with high-grade investors, rated investors, all that skills can be translated to on a smaller sort of micro level. And it's just very interesting to see these SMEs and businesses develop and evolve with your assistance. So I really enjoy it. And like I say, it's really relevant to where I'm from.
That's really interesting. Have you achieved your personal and professional goals, or is there more to come?
I'm hoping there's more to come. I think, goals are a journey, and they're constantly evolving. And so I'm always open to opportunities, to learning more, to developing my expertise, to broadening my knowledge. So I think it's a constant rolling thing. On a personal level, I'm hoping that my family would continue to be happy and healthy, especially in these times. But everything is a journey, and I'm enjoying the journey as I go along, and I hope
Absolutely.
I continue to do so.
Absolutely. So, as a legal professional, because we generally ask this question to all our speakers. So now there is a question that what are the 3 core values you truly believe in when it comes to your work?
I think you have to be honest. I know there's sort of running jokes about lawyers being dishonest and not telling you what you need to know, but I think you have to be honest. And I think especially in my world, you see lots of situations, lots of structures, lots of issuers, and if there's a problem, you have to be honest and you have to explain what the problem is. And you're also interpreting the law, so you owe it to the people that you're working with, just to make sure that things are being followed correctly and things are being followed accurately as well and in accordance with the relevant laws. So I think honesty is an important one. I think the next thing is that you have to be empathetic or sympathetic, same thing. I think there's a lot of competing interests, and it's usually between the commercial side of things and the legal side of things. And everybody wants to achieve the same thing, but they have different interests and pressure points. And I think as a lawyer, you need to understand people's points of view, try to work out what their challenges are, what they're trying to achieve, and just work with them and try to get to a solution that sort of works for everybody so that everybody can move along and you can sort of aim towards the ultimate goal of getting the transaction done and making sure that you get processes that are in order. So that's an important one. And the last thing, and it's not a core value, but I think it's more a skill. And I think you have to be creative. A lot of things aren't black and white, and a lot of things that come up in transactions and when you're working environment are challenges, and they can't necessarily work together. So I think you have to be creative in solving problems and coming to positions where if it's novel, you can work it out and explain it. And just get people comfortable. But I think creativity is a very important one.
That's correct. I completely agree with you on this. So thank you so much, Emma, for sharing such great insight with us. We look forward to having a chat with you again in the future on some other trending topics in the international legal industry. And for our viewers, if you like this chat with Emma, please like, share this video, and also subscribe to our channel, Click with Creators, to appreciate what we do and have more coming from the industry leaders. This is Abhishek for LexTalk World.